Hey, I should be recording. Yeah, good morning. It is Saturday, and I'm going to start with a tutorial making a soap bar. Nothing too complicated, hopefully, and we'll use some add-ons at the end just to make it a bit more interesting, but you don't need to follow long after that. But let's get started. So, let's start with the soap bar. Now, we can use the default cube, so we'll get rid of the camera and this light. And this cube here will just scale to the shape of a soap bar. So that can be like that. If you want like an oval one, you can of course do that. You can do whatever shape soap bar you want. It doesn't matter. And Control A. I'm going to apply scale. Then I'm going to hit tab, go into edit mode, which is tab shortcut. Select the edges, right click, bevel edges, and we get a nice rounded soap bar. So we're going to increase the segments and then choose how round we want it. Shade smooth. Look like a soap bar? Kinda. Let's add some text on there saying soap. So we're going to say mesh, we're going to go to text, and we're going to have to go into edit mode to edit that text. So you can either hit tab and then just delete that text and type in soap. Now you can use a more fancy font if you like. I'm going to center the text and center, middle, center. So center, middle, and I'm going to rotate this sideways. There we go, and scale it up. There we go. Now on the font options, on the geometry, I want to extrude this up. And I want it slightly rounded, so I'm going to add some depth. There we go. And I might just increase that to like something resolution of 6 or something like that. 6. And if I can remember where it says fill mode, I don't want the bottom to be filled, so I'm just going to say just the front. So the bottom is, there's a hole in the bottom, there's no cap. Okay. So we kind of got our soap bar, and then you can adjust the height on this, how high you want it or how low. About there looks okay to me. I kind of like that. So what I want to do is combine these two objects together. So join. So it's one mesh. Then we're going to go to modifiers. And we're going to remesh this. So we want this kind to look more embossed inside. So we're going to say generate, and we're going to say remesh with voxels selected. And then I'm going to change this to 0.01. Give it a second. Might take a second or two. Is this mesh 1? Oh, sorry, it didn't work because I did not convert to mesh. Sorry, I'd have to convert the text to mesh. Join these two. So join. There we go. Now you can see they are now merged as one. Now of course I can undo that, adjust the text size, so maybe I want it slightly more lower. Let's bring this down. There we go. And then I'll rejoin that. There we go. Now it looks like it's embossed into it. And you can play around with that, you know, maybe you want it 0.1. You know, it's worn out, and then you might have to add like a subdivision just to get rid of a subdivision surface to smooth it out, like the soap's being used. So it's entirely up to you how much you play around with the voxel size. What you can do, like 0.07 or 8. Let's try 8. So it's kind of used, worn out, kind of, you know, but it's not perfect. So entirely up to you. You can play around with that, and then of course smooth, how much smoothness and you want to do on that. I'm going to apply these modifiers. I'm happy with that'll do. All right. I might do some tiny bit of sculpting. Just all I'm going to do is just Alt and is it Shift or Control, and just add some tiny marks. Bring that strength down. Just like just add some little dents. Nothing too fancy. Well, it's not going to be perfect soap bar, and I'm hold shift and I might smoothen out some of this text. Just soften it a little by just holding shift. Okay. We can even probably use a scrape. Where's the scrape? That's clay, sharp, inflate, blob, crease, smooth, flatten. Let's use flatten. Oh, scrape, there we go. We can even scrape some of this corners. There we go. Now this, like I said, this is just it's an option, you know, you don't need to do this. I just add in just extra detail to our model. There we go. Anyway, I'll go back to layout. Now let's put a material on this. So we're going to use some subsurface scattering. Of course, we're going to use cycles. So unfortunately, I haven't used subsurface on Eevee. I don't know if it's possible or not. It must be, but oh yeah, there is subsurface scattering. So I mean, we can try and see how it looks. We're just going to hit subsurface. Let's put that weight up to 1. Let's give this a color to pink. Let's put a scene mold here so we can see. I think you'll probably have to like calculate the lighting and bake the lighting on this. I'm not entirely sure for it to work. If I can remember. But you'd have to bake this in direct lighting. I think. I'm not sure. I don't know. If you're going to do it in Eevee, I'm not 100% sure, so I can't guarantee. So I'll stick with cycles. And I'm going to say GPU compute, denoise. Don't worry about that little pop up because I was on CPU. Yes. So you can see we've got something going on here. Let's switch to shading mode. Go here. Here we go, and then just change this environment. So we've got some kind of light. Let's find one. There we go. So I want to just change. It's really subtle stuff. So on the radius, I want to have an RGB color. This allows me just to just change that color. Maybe run it kind of bluish pink. And then the scale, you can play around with the scale. You can increase this up or down until you're happy. It's easier, it might be easier to see in here so you can see, but maybe it helps if I add a light as well. I'm just going to add an area light, scale this up, it's nice and big. And I'll put this over here to the side so we can have some light coming through. Move up, there we go. And let's increase this wattage, I don't know, 1500. Maybe more. I'm going to add another 0, it's going to be really bright. Maybe too bright, maybe it's too bright. Maybe change that to 2. Yeah, so you can kind of see something going on here. And if we click on the material, and we tweak that scale. So you can bring it down to 0, you can see. Maybe 5, I kind of like 5. On that radius color, you can of course change this, like I said. I kind of like that. I'm going to add a floor. So I'm going to add the mesh plane and put a floor on, something for it to sit on. There we go. And let's give this a material. Make this kind of like a grey. Let's go for a grey look. And should we make slightly transparent? Slightly, sorry, bring the roughness down, not transparent. Roughness. I don't know why I'm saying transparent. There we go. So it's got something to sit on. Don't worry, we'll play around with the lighting more in a second. Let's add some bubbles into our scene. So let's make a bubble. We can just use a UV sphere. I'll make one first, then we can just duplicate this, right? So new material, I can rename this bubbles. Alright. And we're gonna go to the shaded tab. There we go. Okay, we're gonna delete this principal BSDF. Boom. And then I'm gonna just right click add, and I'm gonna add all my shaders first, so just make my life easier. So I want the glass BSDF. You have to click off, so you notice when I try to add again, you have to make sure you click off that node, then right click and then add, and then you can search for what you want. So I want a glass PDF already got, I want a transparent BSDF, so I want that. I want a mix shader, so similar to how we created the glass for the globe, but in Eevee, but different, slightly. We want to go to, where is it, shader again, mix shader. Okay, so this will go into here, this will go into here, and this will go into here. And what I want is a layer weight for the factor. Okay, and we use the facing, make sure I click off that. So I want to get a layer weight, which might be an input. There we go. And then we're going to put the facing into there. Okay. And of course you can play around with the value here, so let's say put 1 for now. Okay, this goes into here. So you can see it's starting to look like a bubble, picking up some reflections and stuff. And then the color, we want to add the hue and saturation, so on a hue and saturation. So if I go, let me click off and then find it. So if I go color, hue and saturation, and then just put that into there, and then from there we can just add the noise texture and then our texture coordinate, so it'll be just the noise and then coordinates. So there's texture coordinate, and I want to change that to object instead. Make that to object, and then you can scale this. You can play around with the scale and stuff, so you know, you might want to increase that to 5 or 6. Maybe this to 1, you know, just play around with that until you're happy with the look of your bubble. Bear in mind the reflections also affect how that bubble looks too, so bear in mind. And I'll increase that saturation to 2 and shade smooth. Okay, if we go back to our scene and we bring this bubble down, you can see it's picking up, you know, the environment and the reflections and whatever we need it to do. But we have a bubble, right? Oh, I forgot to, yeah, I do have the noise on. Anyway, so now I can just copy and paste this bubble around, move this around, you know. Control C, Control V, and then maybe put one down here, small. Scale this up, and you know, the bubbles don't have to be perfect shapes either, so you can maybe add a deformer to this as well. So let's go generate, and let's use, where's deform, let's use something like simple deform. We can stretch this one. Oh, I had the wrong, for some reason it's selected this one, but that's fine. But yeah, we can, I kind of like that. Maybe there's 2 of them stuck together. There we go. You know, entirely up to you. Play around with that anyway. And then I'm going to add a camera. So I'm going to vertical split this. Boom. Add a camera in this scene. So now I can hit 0 home for the camera view. If I press N, go to view, I can say camera to view, which will then allow me to navigate this. You can see the camera moving here when I move this window here. Let's scale this ground plane slightly a bit bigger. You can animate all of this as well, so don't be afraid to, you know, try different things. Try this. Let's try bring this strength down on this environment. There we go. Also the roughness. I forgot to play around with the roughness. Bring the roughness down on the soap. There we go. Not too much, but a little bit is fine. And you could even probably try to add a coat or sheen if you want. I don't know. You want to add some kind of roughness, a little layer there. You can see like a coat, and you can play around with that roughness too. Yeah, have a play, see what works, what doesn't work. I kind of like this, and now what I'm going to do is just use some additional assets. Now at this point you don't need to. I'm going to just turn these off so you can see. You don't. I mean, if you're happy with that, you can keep on tweaking this and adjust your lights until you're happy with your soap bar. And you know, play around with the weight of the subsurface as well. You know, you can play around with that. You can see the adjustments I'm doing here. You can play around with that pink color as well. Maybe it's too pink. Or you can even choose what color. So maybe we'll go for a more of a greenish orange. It does make a big difference. And the scale. So going to 0, you can see how much difference from 0 to 10. How much of a difference it makes. Anyway, if you want to add any additional stuff, I'm just using some add-ons now. So this will be from my assets. So first I'm going to do is add some water drops. So I got this thing from Blender Market called Droplet. So I'm just going to add this into my scene. So I'm going to go File. Where's Append? Append. There it is. I'm a bit blind. Sorry. I'm going to go to my plugins, Droplet generator, and then under node tree, and then I'll select the Droplet generator, which uses geometry nodes. So we go modifier, and then it'll come under geometry nodes. Now at this point you don't need to watch anymore if you don't want, but these are some cool tools that just, you know, help you along and add some more. And what you can see here, you've got all these little points that are really small. So I'm going to reduce this density to like 200, so we have few of them, and then scale this up really big. And what you'll notice, you'll start to see droplets on the soap bar. So yeah, just really easy, really quick and easy. Maybe we can bring this down to, I don't know, 150. There we go. Yeah, just adds that extra bit of detail. Maybe we add it on the ground plane as well. We can add the same geometry node. Boom. And of course I'm going to bring this down to like 50 and then scale this up. There we go. We've got drops of water on the floor. And then, so it's really simple. Add some detail without doing much. We've got some bubbles. We've got soap bar, some subsurface. Of course you can put like a material on this as well, rather than being standard grey. It doesn't have to be grey. I mean, you can do whatever you want. So I kind of like the grey, but if you want to go blue, green, yellow, purple, whatever you want, feel free. And then if I pair this with something like the horizontal split, go to the assets and add like a gobo light in here. Let's get one of these. Let's just use this abstract light for now. Okay, we can rejoin this. I can swap the texture out on the light, so it's good. But yeah, oh, how did I end up in that color? That's a horrible color. Anyway, I must have accidentally clicked it. But yeah, you can add your gobo lights, add the additional detail in there. About an extra 0, boom. Yeah, and you could increase that spotlight. Maybe want it coming from the side over here. you go. And then you can add some color, so maybe you want to add some warmth or some, you know, make it a bit cooler. Entirely up to you. So you can see it's much cooler on this side than that side, and maybe on this side I'll make it a little bit warmer. But yeah, play around until you're happy with it. Maybe it's too cold and too warm, but yeah, but you get the idea. You can even add a third light in there, but yeah, play around, definitely have fun, experiment. Hopefully it was useful. Yeah, soap bar. I know it's nothing too fancy, but you know, and then also you got your environment. You rotate this around. You can change it. You get a different look, a different feel, completely. You know, just changing these. You can use the Blender's default ones, or you can import your own HDRIs. You get a different look for every time you play around with it. Some look cool, some don't. Some work, some don't. Entirely up to you. But yeah, just try different things. Have fun. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday and weekend. Bye bye.